Okay, we're starting Be'ezrat Hashem, Sim and Chaf, and haGuela, and we're talking about answering up the question of why the Gemara in Avodah Zarah in Daf Nun Hey, when Zoinin asked Rabbi Kiva about the Avodah Zarah that heals people. So first he said it was just chance; they just happened to come at the right time, and then when another Amoyer asked a question about the Avodah Zarah sending rain, then they said that the teretz is because the Avodah Zarah has a koach to make nisim in order to trip people up. So why did the Gemara not say that teretz at the beginning? And then the second thing was in Breishis, Parshas Breishis by the Nachash, there's a redak that the Rebbe brought down. You see a moment ago in Siman Tes Zayin, that the Radak asks, how did the snake speak to Chava? So he brings from the Rasag, the Rebbe going, that the reason why the snake spoke was because it wasn't the snake, it was the Samach Mem coming down and riding on the snake and speaking for him. But the Radak asks on that if so, then why did the snake get punished? The snake didn't do anything. And the Radak himself answers that it was real dibur. The snake really spoke, similar to Bilaam's donkey. And the reason why the Torah doesn't speak it out is because he says he leaves it open. He leaves it as a question. He says, "Yesh bozeh nistar gadol." There's a great secret here. So now we're going to explain that. We understand according to the above. We gained.
Where is this from?
Revach, like gain.
Yeah, but the word itself.
The word itself, the exact form of the word, I don't know. Yeah. So we gained in this lahavin shapir divrei radak. The tuva ika lechalik bein nes de nachash lenes de asain. That we can explain the difference between the nes of Bilaam's donkey, which the Torah speaks about openly. It says Vayiftach Hashem es pi asain, and the nes of the Nachash. It doesn't say anything about Hashem opening the Nachash. The hinei nes shel psiches pi asain haya l'toiva. The nes, the difference is one was good, one was bad. The nes of the donkey was for the good. Kedei l'manoi milachtoy, to stop Bilaam from doing the aveira. Bilaam wanted to go and curse, and the donkey stopped him. Kamash kasav Rashi zal al pasuk vayisyatzef malach Hashem baderech l'satan loy. It says that the malach came to stop Bilaam. Malach shall. So Rashi comments on the word Hashem. Hashem is midas harachamim. It says vayicharaf Elokim ki hoylechu midas hadin. Hashem was angry at him for going, and then by Yisyatziv, the very same pasuk, by Yisyatziv malach Hashem. Why is it switched from Elokim to Hashem? Malach shel rachamim haya. This malach was good. He was coming to save Bilaam from sinning. Shelo yechta, that he shouldn't sin, v'yaved, and he shouldn't die. Ad kan l'shaynai. V'zeu shenemar malach Hashem. That's why it says the word Hashem. Shahaya shliach me'ito yisbarach. The same thing, that the fact that the donkey spoke was a nes for the good. Chazal make a big deal out of it. It's not just that it was a nes, it was a nes that was from the 10 things that were created before Shabbos, the creation of the world. Shevach Hanes She'asa Haboyer Yisbarach. That's why the Torah revealed it. The Torah spoke about it openly to be mefarsim it, because this is an amazing miracle. She'asa Haboyer Yisbarach limnoya ma'aser ra, to prevent someone from doing evil. Ki asipur benisa Yisbarach moisifin kedusha v'yiras haroimimus. Speaking about the nisim of Hashem, add kedusha to our lives. They add us. They make us have more yiras shamayim. That's what it says. Sichu b'chol niflo isav. Speak about his miracles. Ironically, Kasher in his book uses Sichu b'chol niflo isav as the as the title for his section about the 67 more. Anyway, but here the Rebbe is saying, no, when you speak about a nes that was done for the good, to make people be better Yidden, better Oivdei Hashem, then that's something we have to speak about. When it comes to the fact that the Nachash was able to speak, but Nachash did something wrong. Nachash was trying to convince Chava to do an Aveira. The Nachash himself thought about doing evil, meaning even before he had the ability to speak, the Nachash wanted to be Mekane in the humans and cause their downfall. Therefore, Hashem came down and provided the snake with the ability to talk. Because when you try to do something evil, Hashem can help sometimes and make it easier for you. The nes was the power of the Samach Mem, because Hashem doesn't do evil. Obviously Hashem's doing it through the Samach Mem, but he delegates that job to him. This nes was hidden by the Torah. That's what the Radak meant when he said that there's a secret here. Not that there's a secret in like Kabbalah, but the secret is this itself is supposed to be a secret. We're not supposed to speak about nisim that were made by the Satan. In order not to open up the mouths of people, not to suggest to anybody, to someone who doesn't know these facts about the Samach Mem. People who don't know this, they might think that it was an ace from Avodah Zarah. Who knows, right? We ourselves, Bnei Israel, we know. We know that sometimes Chazal say that the koyach was given to the Samach Mem to test people and do nisim. They can't have koyach. The Samach Mem can't do it unless Hashem lets him do it. And the reason why Hashem's letting him do it is because of the trial. The Einoid Milvadoi. Really, there's no power except Hashem, but Hashem is giving the power to the Samach Mem in order to make the trial. So we really know that. So why don't we say it openly? The Torah doesn't want to say it openly for everybody, because the minim might take it as a sign of their proof to their heresy. They might think that the Samach Mem has a koyach on his own, like some religions in the old days that believed in two gods, a god of good, a god of evil, right? And they might think that the Satan is some kind of a power in the world. Even though the Torah does sometimes speak openly about the nisim of the Samach Mem, like it says by the Egel, that the Egel came out by itself from the fire. There, the Torah needed it to teach you a lesson. What was the lesson that it needed to teach you over there? So he says in the previous simon, in Simon Yud Tes, that the reason why it was written by Yetzei Egel Hazeh is because Sharasa Chachmasa Yisbarach, that Hashem's wisdom foresaw Sheyu Nisyonis Koela Beikfetz the Mashiach, because there's going to be a time when there's going to be a Zionist state, and people are going to have the same Nisyonis like we have today. Sheyasa Samach Mem Nisim Medumim Koela. The Samach Mem will do apparent miraculous things. Al Yidei Shluchav Nevi'eh HaSheker Lahatos Bohen Sabrias. So therefore, the Torah had to write Yes, there is a koyach in the Samach Mem Lasos Nisim. So there has to be one place where the Torah says it. So instead of saying it by the Nachash, where it's not really a Yid who's doing the Aveira, the Torah makes more of a dimion that it was the Yidden who served the Egel. Those are the ones that created this Nisayan, and the Samach Mem came down and caused the Egel to look like it was real. Just so you should know that it could happen again. Okay? Okay? Okay. V'gam sham nikra v'loy metargim. Even by the Egel, it only says it, but we have a rule not to translate it k'mayim chazal, because we don't want the Amiratzim to think that it's real. It's better not to speak about it as much as possible. It's only mentioned in one place, because the Torah had to at one place to give the secret out, but nowhere else. Avokan, by the snake, helimahu akasuv. The Torah hid it. Ve'ulai lozeh ramaz haradak bilshoinoi sheyesh bozeh nister gadol mivine mada. This is what the Radak means when he says that this is a secret for those who know knowledge. What does that mean? Ki mivine amada, those who know already yavinu hanister bohem, they'll understand the secret. Shahaya hanes al yidei koyach hasamach mem. He'll understand the whole subject that sometimes a person tries to be mitami himself and Hashem helps him. But that's only good people who know, smart people. But people who don't have the knowledge, they'll come to make mistakes.
Kishlon is also mistakes?
Yeah, tripping, like michshol.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
So, it's not good, to reveal this thing. That's why the Torah toned it down, played it down. To teach you that it's actually dangerous to speak about these nisim, Sipur Nisim Elu, so all the more so to believe in such nisim. They're believing in the nisim and saying that they were not a trial, they were real, and they were helping us. That is kfira. Now we could find a hint to this in the Gemara in Chulin. Daf Mem Gimel Amud Aleph Shehikshu Rabbi Yossi Rabbi Yehuda the Sfir Le Nikva Hamara Treifa. There's a machlokes there if an animal's gallbladder was punctured, if it's a treifa or not. So Rabbi Yossi Rabbi Yehuda holds it's a treifa, and the Rabbanan hold no, it's a kashera. So the Rabbanan ask on him v'hachsiv Eoiv, it says in the pasuk in Eoiv, Yishpoich la'aretz miriwasi v'adayin Eoiv kayam. Eoiv's gallbladder spilled out to the ground, and still Eoiv was alive. So you see that you could live without a gallbladder. It could be, today we also have gallbladder operations. People live, but the pshat is because maybe they do it in a way that's safe. But if it happens naturally that someone's gallbladder goes bad, maybe they die. I don't know. So he said, but the pasuk says that Eoiv lived. So Amrullah, they said back to him, Ein maskirin ma'aseh nisim. We don't mention any nisim. Pirish Rashi lahavi rai mehem. We don't bring proof from a miracle. So in the Chanami, Eoiv lived, but that was a miracle, so we can't bring proof from that. Normally, the gallbladder is gone, the animal dies. In fact, the Rebbe Kasha, he should have said we don't learn from nisim. What does it say? Ein maskirim. We don't mention nisim. Who's talking about mentioning it? Everyone agrees you can mention it. The question is whether you can learn from it. However, the teretz is lashon chachamim marpe. The words of the sages are they heal. They tell us important lessons. The nirmaz bilshoinam hakadosh. It's the remez and the words of Chazal and the choice, the word choice that they chose. The haskaras nisim ki agavne the nasu al yidei samach mem. That mentioning nisim, even to mention them, if the nisim are done by the samach mem, kemavur b'divrei Razal yafa limnoyam mimenu. It's better to refrain from mentioning it. Umutav shaloi lahaskir nisim elu mechshash kishloin, because we don't want people to trip up and make a mistake. That's why they said we don't mention these kinds of nisim. Now, what does he mean that the nes of Eoiv was the samach mem? So, if you remember in the Hakdama, the Rebbe explains Ba'arichas the whole story of Eoiv, and he said, "What's the pshat with Eoiv? Eoiv, it says he was a good person, and he came to the world to be mekabel his schar. But when he got the Yisurim, he started to be mecharef and megadef. And then HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave him schar in olam hazeh in order to make him lose his olam haba." So he explains over there that the pshat is that Eov's refuah, Eov's living, Hashem said to the Satan at the beginning, you can do whatever you want to him, ach es nafsho shmor, but keep his life alive, right? So why did the Satan have the task of keeping him alive? Isn't that a good thing? Why is the Satan being told to do a good thing? So he said because the pshat is that really keeping Eov alive was not a good thing for him. Because really it would have been better if he would have died. Because Eov started out being a tzaddik. He had a lot of schusim, he had a lot of shares in the olam haba. Why did he have to lose them? He lost them because, first of all, at the peak of his Yisurim, he was Mecharef and Megadef. And secondly, because even then, the Rebbe says, if he would have died right away, he wouldn't have had time to get his Schar in Olam Hazeh. He would have for sure had to get Schar in Olam Haba. Because Hashem doesn't mekapech. He doesn't withhold the Schar from anybody. So he would have gotten his Schar in Olam Haba. The fact that he died was bad for him. The fact that he lived was bad for him. So the fact that the Satan had this job to keep him alive, that was bad for him. So that's fitting that task was given to the Satan. So the pshat is that this is Maisa Nisim of the Samach Mem. So Chazal are saying, Ein Maskir Maisa Nisim. We don't mention such Nisim. Okay? Now, Gam, Loi Kasha Kusha Saradak, Al Rabbeinu Sad Yagoin. Now, this was all explained in the Radak. The Radak says the snake had the koyach to speak. Why do you have the koyach to speak? Because he wanted to do a bad thing, so the Satan was given the koyach to give him an even greater ability to do it. But now, we're going to go back to the Rasag, Rav Sad Yagoin. It says, Gam Loi Kasha Kusha Saradak Al Rabbeinu Sad Yagoin, De L'Shitosoi Ima Malach Diber Avura Nachash. If it was not the Nachash speaking, it was a Malach speaking, then Ma Chata HaNachash, V'lama Nenash, V'niskala. Why did the snake get this punishment that he's going to have to eat dirt for the rest of his life and crawl on the ground? What's the answer to that? So he says, Dehinei Radak Atzmoi Kosav Sham. Even the Radak's own pshat, he says that the Nachash Chashav Bar Mimus. It was the Nachash's own idea, Lahachtias Adam V'ishtoi, to make the man and his wife sin. Because he wanted to do it, Hashem opened up his mouth and made him speak. No, so if you're saying that in the Radak's pshat, you could say it in the Sad Yagoin's pshat too. Because the snake had a desire, he had a plan, to convince them to do a nevera. He caused that the koyach of the Samach Mem should come upon him. That's why the Samach Mem rode on top of the snake and spoke for him. The same thing happens today. Everything the Rebbe says in this sefer is a lesson for today. That's the amazing thing about it. You have someone who does something bad. He desires to do bad. He may not have the ability to do bad. Let's say he's a Zionist, right? He's a Herzl, he's a Ben Yehuda, a Ben Gurion, right? He's sitting there and he wants to do bad, but he just doesn't have the ability to do bad. So mamshich es atzmoi or al atzmoi koyach hatuma al yidei machshavto. He brings upon himself the koyach hatuma because of his thoughts, because of his plans, and then the Samach Mem will come down and speak for him. Even if he doesn't have the ability to do Maasehu Hara, the evil thing he wants to do, the Samach Mem comes down and does his bidding for him, does his shlichus, does his desires. Al derech habali tamei poischin loy, k'mavur b'divrei Chazal. V'asi shapir. Now we understand mashen iskal hanachash, the reason why the snake was punished. V'nenash af al pi sha'samach mem diber avurei. The Samach Mem was one speaking for him. V'fi shehu himshich alav es koyach Samach Mem al yidei teshukasei lahara. Because the snake was the one who desired that sin, so he caused it to come down upon himself. Okay, v'isbayer b'yeser biur al pi mashakastav v'marsha zal v'masech Makas. We can explain this even better with the Marsha. Daf Yudam Beis al Maimer Gemara Omer Avhuna Omer Belazer Mina Torah Umina Neviim Umina Kesuvim B'derech Sha'adam Roitze Leilech Moilichem Oisai. That the same type of thing that we're saying here, Abali Tamei Poischin Loi, we can learn it from three places, from the Torah, the Neviim, and the Kesuvim. Because of our Marsha. And the example from the Torah, of course, is from Bilaam, right? Bilaam said he wants to go to curse, right? So Hashem said, first, don't do it. And then, in the second time, Hashem said, yeah, go with them and curse. Why? Because b'derech sh'adam roitze leilech, because he wants to go that way. Now, because of a marsha, the loy kamer sh'HaKadosh Baruch Hu moilich oisai. It doesn't say b'derech sh'adam roitze leilech HaKadosh Baruch Hu moilich oisai. It says, they guide him. Who's the they? Who's the they? That's the Marsha's Kash. Who's the they? So he answers, V'yuvan al pi masha kastavti b'kama mekoymes shekol machshava v'diru ma'aseh ha'adam hinehu borei loy malach l'fi inyanai. When the person does a mitzvah, he creates a malach, a good malach. When he does an avera, he creates a bad malach. Im l'toy v'im l'ra. Right? V'al kein omar b'derech she'adam roitze leilech she'arashus b'idei adam mimenu yisparach. That a person has free will. Everything's in the hand of Hashem except for Yiras Shamayim and things related to mitzvahs and averos. The person has free will. But according to what the person decides to do, these malachim, they are created from his desires and his decisions, that those malachim come down and they guide him. And they help him continue on the way that he's going. Okay? Umaisi b'gemara rayim in the Torah. The Gemara brings the three proofs, the Torah and Nevi'im Uksuvim. The raya from the Torah is Sha'amar lei Kodesh Baruch Hu lebilaam lo yisei leichimam. First Hashem said, don't go. V'yachar kach ksiv kum leichitam. And then he said, go. She'ritzaynoi v'daitoi hara lei leichitam. Because he wanted to go, Garam, that caused Sheshalach Lo HaKadosh Baruch Hu Malach Kirtzaynoi. A Malach came down. I guess the second time it wasn't Hashem speaking directly; it was a Malach, and he came down Kirtzaynoi Machshavtoi, according to his Ratzon, She'amar Leikum Leichitam, and said, "Go with them." Umaisi Rayim in Ksuvim, and the other Raya from the Ksuvim is the Ksiv Im Leitzim Hu Yalitz. If to the Leitzim a person desires to join, then Hu Yalitz, Hashem says, "Yeah, let him be a Leitz." HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, I'll even give you a malach to go with you that helps you do leitzanos. Kafi leitzanuscha. Ubegemara the avodah zara hanizkar le'el lamdu mi pasuk zed the abali tami poischin loy. That the Gemara in avodah zara brings this pasuk im leitzim hu yalitz to prove that if someone wants to sin, he gets an open door to do so. In the case of the avodah zara that answered the prayers, v'hainu hach v'kavana achas lishneim means the same exact thing. So, in other words, if in let's say the oivdei avodah zara, they wanted to serve avodah zara, so Hashem sent a malach down that would that would help them do avodah zarah, meaning the Satan would give them a false nevuah and make them think that the avodah zarah is real. Ad kan toichin divrei Maharsha Zal. This is the words of the Maharsha. Uvazeh muvan das harastag Zal. Now we understand Reb Stadi going, the afsha malach diber avur hanachash. So this is like the malach thing, right? That just like Reb Stadi going says, when the nachash spoke, it wasn't really the nachash, it was really the malach speaking. That's the parallel to the Maharsha. The Maharsha says when the person does nevera, the first time, after he starts doing the Aveira a lot, a malach comes down and helps him do it. So sometimes it might not be him speaking. It might be the malach speaking when he does it. He's coming to do an Aveira, and it's not really him, because the malach has taken him over. But he caused the malach to take him over. Exactly like the Reb Stadi going. The Avsha malach dibra avur nachash, even though it was really the malach speaking, not the nachash speaking, mikol makom nischayev nachash. The Nachash was still guilty because Shehamalach Einoi Ela Goimer in Yanai. The Malach is just finishing up what he started. Al derech she'amu zal bar litami poischim loy. Uvederech she'adam roitze lelech moy lichim loy. So when a person decides to do something, Hashem guides him to do it more. The nenash hanachash al roya b'chirasei. The Nachash was punished for having the wrong choice. Shegaram bazeh lahamshich malach ra lahashli min yanai, because he caused this malach to come down. Now, Nachash has free will, not today, but I guess the Nachash then had free will. That's what you have to learn.